Well, hey, how's the bourbon? What are you having right now, actually?
What am I having? I'm having Maker's Mark.
Oh, you went to the Cast Strength
I
Makers.
went to the Cast Strength Makers. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
I tapped the bottle, so sorry.
That's all right. Hey, you know I take deliveries anytime that you want to drop one off.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Gentleman Jack right now, just because it is like 2:30 or
I don't
something.
know how
1
smart
o'clock.
this was, but the double oak was great. This is. I've never had this. This is good.
That one, I gotta be honest. Cast
This one's gonna
Strength.
get me.
Oh yeah. And again, you always think that's just a marketing ploy.
No, it's real.
No. That thing has legs. It'll come back and you may not have a business tomorrow. I may own Foghorn Designs tomorrow. You guys sign here, initial once. It'll
You have
press
an extra bedroom here that I can hang out.
we
in?
do just around. We call it the business bunker for a reason.
There we go,
just
yes.
right around the corner. Well, hey, I want to keep moving because, again,
Sure.
I want to make sure that we get as much value out today as we can. I think one thing that's been interesting, and I think a lot of businesses has dealt with, and we've kind of like sprinkled, sugar-coated a little bit so far, is the workforce, employees. Now, you have a pre-COVID employee staff and how it was. You have during COVID how it was, and you have after COVID how it was. So explain to us exactly what your beliefs are then and now, and how you're planning on managing the business going forward.
Sure. So pre-COVID, we had a staff of 7. When we had to shut down in March last year, the one moved out to Arizona. One kind of went off on her own, did her own thing. She does more freelance type work.
I understand.
And the other went and worked with family business. And let's see here. That math doesn't add up. We must have had 6 at the time. We've had 7 at some point, but then I think right before COVID.
Hey, can you
we
go
were at
ahead and
6.
top off the cast strength for this boy over here?
I've like 2 sips in here. But so we must right before COVID. I think we were at 6, not 7. So that brought us down to 3, and they are still at the shop doing wonderful things, helping tremendously, far above and beyond probably what they thought they were going to have to do. But currently trying to find a couple extra helpers, which has been very difficult.
What's that experience been like?
Oh, man, it's something that, okay, so everyone that I've brought on to the crew over the years has been through through some sort of connection that I had with someone.
A referral.
A referral, yeah. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, they've worked out wonderfully. Now, trying to find people to bring in, we're starting from scratch, basically, just not having anyone, or not. I've tried to reach out to see, hey, do you know anyone? Hey, do you know anyone? And it hasn't been, nothing's come of that. So we put out some ads for hiring in the last couple months, and I had 27 applicants.
Which is like...
Which was crazy.
Awesome.
I was so excited.
Yeah.
I've reached out to a few that I thought would be a good fit, and so far nothing has come of that. And of the other maybe 20 or so, from what I understand, or from what I'm hearing from some other business owners, is that they're applying, but they're not real applicants. So
they have to check a box somewhere.
They have to check a box somewhere, and I hate
politically
to,
correct.
Yeah,
warning right there.
Yes. Without getting in trouble, that's as close as we can get, I think. But I do think there are still a couple that applied that may still fit the mold that we need. But I did have a few that we set up interviews for, and they were no-shows. So
can you imagine not showing up when you say you're going to?
Yeah. I've had 3 that have just set up the interview. They were excited, and nothing. So it's interesting right now.
Wow.
It's not a great situation to be in when I legitimately need help. And
because you're basically, let's be honest, I mean, you're borderline capacity right now.
I'm beyond capacity
Yeah.
right now. I am going back to when we talked about saying no. There are several projects that we have in the works right now that I probably should have said no. Just
Gotcha.
because it's going to, when turnaround times are a month, 2 months, 3 months,
Yeah.
and instead of the 1 week, 2 weeks that I'm used to.
Yeah, that's not experienced design.
It's not experience. It doesn't.
It works the opposite way when it goes that way, though, right?
It works the opposite way.
Yeah.
It's proof of concept.
Yeah, and it's probably exponentially more effective in the reverse.
Yeah.
So if you blow your experience, that probably has a 2 to 3 exponential effect to it,
Yeah.
as opposed to if you get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's even the time frame there that you notice the changes is quite a bit faster. But doing the best we can with what we have, and
Sure.
I have a crew currently. There's 3 of us, 3.5. I just had someone start up this week. It's a temporary gig. He'll be leaving soon, but for the next few months, hopefully, I have some extra help in production, which will be really, really nice. But those who are there, kicking ass, just working as hard as they possibly can to get the product out.
So are they unicorns?
I have a full staff of unicorns. I do. I really, truly believe I have a staff of unicorns, which makes it even harder for anyone coming in, because they have big shoes to fill. And I have the folks I have on the crew right now are top notch. So one's going to be leaving soon for a short period of time. She's going to be having a baby in November. So that'll take us down to 2.5. It's going to be crazy, but you know what? We'll
Could you have timed it like a month or two sooner? You know what I mean? For the busy time.
Right. But nope, she'll be back and she'll kick ass just the way she's been doing for the last. She's been with me since 2013. So
she's an OG.
She's an OG. Yes. But I mean, the crew that I have, I couldn't ask for anyone better. I need to help them succeed. So bringing on additional employees is going to be necessary in order to maintain and grow. Certainly, we could maintain the current status quo and be okay, but I don't think that's any small business owner's goal, is to stay at a plateau.
You ain't growing, you're dying.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting experience because I've never had an experience like this before where I've had to bring in someone that I didn't have some sort of a connection with, a referral or whatnot. So it's been interesting, but we'll find it.
I have a couple clients. Now, again, I should actually put this on a paid side, so people have to pay to get this advice. I'm telling you, this is something that came out of about 6 months ago, a meeting I was having with a client. We were talking. And they're actually going out and specifically targeting senior citizens.
Okay.
And thriving.
Really? Okay.
Who shows up on time for some of these people is if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
Yeah.
So I might not be able to run them at 100% efficient on production, but they're present.
They show up.
And they'll run 75%, and they'll outwork anybody else that I can get that. So that is just something I think, and I'm throwing this out to all, but because I think there's available resources there that just seem to be being overlooked. And the other thing that you're going to get is you're going to get experience there. You're not going to have been their first employer or their second employer, or for that matter, even their third employer.
Right.
They're going to have been through where they understand the concept of, this is bigger than me. I'm a cog. I have a responsibility. All my job is to do exactly what I'm told to do, what I'm asked to do. And then when I have a chance to excel, I'm going to take it. That's knowledge that's not just possessed right now in, let's just say, my son Isaac's generation, age 18 right now.
Right.
I told my kids, I said, I said, I wish I would have grown up in your environment. Because I said, it's like almost cheating for you guys. I said, first of all, you have to show up. That's a tough barrier to entry. But unbelievably, how many people showed up when they said they were to you? That would be 0, correct? Right. So that's a big one. Can you pass a drug test right now? Wow, that's a tough barrier to entry. Don't make bad choices.
Right.
Okay? And then show up, drug-free, and be mediocre.
Yeah.
That's my life advice. Be mediocre.
Yep.
Because if you do that, you're still an all-star.
Yeah, you're ahead of the game.
But if you show up and work like you were raised, you'll own it. It'll be yours. And if that one's not yours, another one will be.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple. There's no competition. But you take the baby boomer generation, who a lot of them are finding with the current inflation and their current rising costs and everything, a lot of them are fixed income. And they're finding out that I need to find an extra, $500,000 a month somehow.
Sure.
All of a sudden, you show up and you put them in a good position. You set them up to fail. You find the job that's ergonomically, fits what they're physically capable of doing. And all of a sudden, unicorn.
Yeah.
So that's something to take home. And again, I'm no guarantees.
Right.
But I've been sharing that. And 3 or 4 people are starting to, and they're having really good luck with that.
It's very interesting.
Now, the problem is there's a turnover.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, again, what is there that dictates that you have to have one person for a job? Maybe it's 3 people working 10 to 12 hours a week that fills that position.
Mm-hmm.
That when you get there, they're going to be there waiting for you to get there.
Right.
When they're done, the workspace is going to be perfectly clean, all set up. The next person is going to be set up for success. Tell me a demographic in the workforce that's going to do that besides them.
Right.
Unless you have a unicorn.
Put that in my notes right now.
So where is like going forward? I mean, we know we need to add people. What happens if you can? Is this all Foghorn has to offer?
Well,
is this where we've hit the glass ceiling and we're done?
I think going back to being fluid, being able to adapt, being willing to fail, finding the new niche, however you want to pronounce it, tomato.
2 more drinks and we'll call it pretty much niche-y.
Yeah, I don't know. It won't take 2 more, I don't think. No, this isn't it for us, for sure. I mean, I've made it, I started the business 2008, 2009, right out the height of the last recession, or the dip,
Right.
We've made it through tough times. We'll make it through this time. If it just means scaling back for a temporary amount of time on this little lull, then that's what we'll do. And I think that's kind of what we've done, going from 7 or 6 employees down to 3. We obviously can't churn out as much as we were before. Taking on the jobs we want to take on, being a little bit more particular on the services that we're offering. I've been through this many times in my head, and every time I come to the same conclusion that there's no doubt that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and one way or another I'll find a way to do it.
How do you know that?
I know how I'm wired, and I know that I'd be a terrible employee. So I don't know that I have a choice.
I am not hireable.
I do not think I'm hireable. I think I would be terrible. I'd be giving unsolicited advice all the time. This is an all or nothing type of situation for me, and that's just how I'm wired. And
burn the bridge.
Yeah,
burn the boats.
They're
forward or nothing.
Exactly. I don't know that I have the answer that you're asking, but in my heart, I know that that's just the way it is. There's just no plan B. I'll find a way to make it work. And I shouldn't say we will find a way to make it work. I think I have a crew that feels very much the same way.
Sure.
So there is no other alternative. This is it. And being willing to adapt and change. And like I said, right now we're apparel and signage. In 2 years, who knows what? I can plan all day long, but if we're not willing to, how many plans actually work out?
Mm-hmm.
Very few.
Right.
But the people who succeed are the ones who are willing to make the change and go with the flow.
The plan always creates itself on the way to the plan.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
It does. I mean, think about it.
After a couple of these, it makes sense.
Yeah. Dude, while you're listening, you have to have about 2 or 3 drinks or this isn't going to make sense to anybody.
You have to keep up.
But seriously, the story is, it's action. It's motion. I mean, as you take a step forward, the next step becomes clearer.
Yeah.
So even though plan A may not be where you end up, may end up plan Z or plan double D, double Z. Who knows how many times that you have to fail, change, alter, again, fluid, move. Taking the action creates the next step. So to think that, there's somebody that was, in Arizona washing windows. And all of a sudden, and I consider you a legit entrepreneur. Legit. May not have started that way back when we were washing windows in Arizona, but we're a legit entrepreneur today. So there's people out here that I'm hoping will listen to this. They're either just starting their business or they hate their job. They're not being fulfilled. They'd have no peace. They're being forced to make medical decisions for, other people making them for them. What advice could you give them? Or you've walked that path, from nobody with no knowledge necessarily to now legit entrepreneur. How can you encourage somebody? How can you help them prepare to walk the same journey you walked?
You have to have a certain drive. You have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to adapt. If I wanted to go and there's nothing wrong with working a factory job your whole life.
Nope.
Nothing wrong at all.
If that's you.
If that's what you want.
Yes.
If you want to go and work 9 hours, 8 hours a day, go home and not worry about it.
And you're fulfilled.
There are times.
You have peace.
There are times that I'm like, damn, that'd be nice.
Sounds good in concept.
But I do know, do I think anyone can be an entrepreneur? No. You have to, me enough to know that I love to be criticized.
Mm-hmm.
I love to be told when I'm doing something wrong. I don't think that's a normal thing.
No. It's not.
But I like that because it opens my eyes to change.
It speeds growth.
It speeds growth.
Mm-hmm.
I openly ask you from time to time, where am I messing up?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do I need to change? So, to anyone who's wanting to start a business or, take this entrepreneur lifestyle, you have to embrace the failure. You really do. And you have to learn from it, not just fail and not make changes. You have to fail and learn from them.
Who did you blame when you failed?
Every single time, me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's why you're a legit entrepreneur now.
Yeah. You can't.
Today's culture, who do they blame?
Anyone but themselves.
Government, mom and dad, the school system, I was born this way, blah, blah, blah.
And then you bring in, this is why I can't group books into 1 to 5, because extreme ownership is...
Jocko Willink.
Man, Jocko Willink and Leif Babin.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That is one you have to listen.
I feel bad that I left them out of my top 5.
You can't read it. You have to listen to it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You have to listen to
the way they tell their stories is amazing. But extreme ownership, every single thing. If your employee or someone on your team fails and they answer to you, you are the one who has failed,
Yep.
not them. It
Yep.
means that you didn't train them well enough. And you don't beat yourself up over it. You learn from it and you train them up.
Mm-hmm.
And, hopefully the next time it doesn't happen, or when they encounter that issue next time, they know how to handle it.
How many mistakes did Jocko say they made in combat?
I do not remember. A lot.
A lot.
But it was a lot.
And
Yeah.
the consequence for those mistakes,
Life and death.
life and death.
Yeah.
But again, it took extreme ownership, meaning, leadership had to take ownership of that to make sure that lives weren't lost going forward.
Right.
Our consequence, not nearly as
We're
bad.
not life
Feels life and
Yes.
death,
Yes.
but it's not.
Yeah.
So great concept, great book. That is one. We'll make sure we link. I'll link that
There's
down.
so many
to,
great ones. But
Yeah.
yeah, that is certainly, it's got to be a top 10. I mean, it has to be.
Yep.
It should probably
Have
be
you
a
ever
top
watched
5.
Jocko podcast?
Oh, I listen to it every morning when I walk. I'm listening to Jocko podcast.
That dude is something else. I mean, talk about just there's not many like that.
No.
I mean, I've read a few. I follow a few. He's one. David Goggins is one. A lot of them have that seal, that
Goggins
military.
is, I can listen to Goggins maybe once a week. He's a little extreme. He's a little extreme. But Jocko, he has so the thing that Jocko has that Goggins I think lacks is just
Tact.
compassion.
Right.
Yeah. Jocko feels emotion, whereas I think Goggins does not. I think that man is a machine.
Yes.
And he's amazing.
Yeah.
But he is a lot to listen to sometimes.
Yep.
But Jocko, I recently in the 75 Hard program that I was doing, working out.
Oh, we're gonna talk
twice
about
a
that.
day.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, working out twice a day, my morning routine usually was a walk or a bike ride, and that was a podcast time for me.
Yep.
It's not a high intensity workout. It's something that I can spend time focusing on what I'm listening to and not what I'm doing, but still getting that exercise in. I listen to a ton of Jocko podcast, and some of my favorites of his was his SOG interviews, and I'm listening to those, and I have a cadence going on my walk, and I start listening. I'm like, these guys, the things they went through, and I'm sitting here complaining because I have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning to go on a walk at 5 o'clock. Like, it, my cadence, my mile rate would go from a 15-minute walking mile down to a 13:45, and I'm practically jogging by the time I'm done. I'm like, these guys are amazing.
Right.
But yeah, Jocko is a great podcast to listen to, and again, free.
Yep. And then the thing is motivating if you're on the socials, no matter which one you are.
Oh, dude.
Have a picture of his wife.
4:33, 4:35, 4:36, whatever it may be.
Yep.
He posts a picture every morning when he wakes up, and it's
Yep.
always 4 o'clock. Or if he's traveling, it could be 3 o'clock.
Yep. Well, one thing that you're
yeah.
pointing out by talking about that is that, as an entrepreneur, even if you haven't started yet or you're just starting, or let's say you've been in the biz for a while and things are tough right now for you, you have to look outside of what you're already doing for your solution.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's for motivation, whether it's for new and innovative ideas. I can think in my time, I tell everybody, I've been on every podcast I've ever been on, every interview I've ever done, I always say, and I swear in the Bible that I've failed more than I've succeeded. And out of my failure in reaching out to expertise, whether it was through a book, podcast, or a live person, a live business, my greatest successes followed. So today, if you're getting ready to start, look up a Trevor, look up an Eric, look up an entrepreneur that is not perfect. They've not gotten it all right. But they've already walked the path that you're preparing to walk, or they're walking right beside you in the same walk that you're walking now. And there's tons of value. You can add, I participate in a coaching, a mastermind group nationally with a bunch of financial advisors that, are equally, performed at the same level or higher than I do. And the value and just the camaraderie, the knowing that there's somebody else out there that is walking the same path for me has helped me avoid a lot of potholes,
Sure.
jumping off the cliff. At the same time, has made me a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as an entrepreneur going in, there's podcasts, little simple ones like this where we're drinking bourbon and just talking. And there's hundreds of others out there for free.
Mm-hmm.
There's no excuse to walk it like you think you know it. There's no excuse to walk it and fail miserably. That may happen anyways. When you have all this information for free.
Yeah.
It's just waiting for you to act.
Well, and I know a lot of people use time as an excuse. And I use it too. I mean, I think everyone uses time as an excuse. But when you just have to listen to a podcast,
everybody drives.
Everyone drives, and you can always wake up earlier.
Yep.
You know, I used to wake up at 6. Now I wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I get out and my morning routines are easy. They're just a walk or a bike ride.
How long did it take from the time you started day one until it actually felt like a habit where it was almost automatic?
So day one starting.
Were you having how much? I want to know the internal self-talk that first morning.
I'm trying to decide if we're talking day one starting a business or day one deciding that I'm going to change my life.
Let's go with the latter.
Okay, so starting my life or changing my life. I had a couple guys in our masterminds group that decided we wanted to do the 75 Hard Challenge.
And explain to everybody what that is before you dig in.
So 75 Hard is a program that was created to a lot of people misrepresent it as a weight loss program. It's not. It's a lifestyle change. It is it focuses more on self-discipline. Mm-hmm. And it's 75 days, and what's included in that is every single day you have to work out twice, 45 minutes each. One has to be outside. You have to read 10 minutes of a self-improvement entrepreneurial book, nonfiction. You have to follow some sort of a diet plan. You have to take a photo of yourself, a progress photo of yourself every day. You have to drink a gallon of water every day. I'm trying to think what else there is. I think that's it.
I mean, after doing it for 75 days, you'd think this shit would be
You'd think, but here's the thing. It's to the point now where I don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
a habit.
It's a habit now.
Mm-hmm. So how long was it? This is the question I think that where everybody falls. How far did you have to push and just sheer will yourself to get up until it became where your inside would make you feel like a big dumpster fire if you didn't do it?
Sure. So initially, it was very easy. I had made my mind up that we were going to do it. 2 other guys in our masterminds group decided we were going to do it.
So step number 1 is you had accountability partners.
Accountability partners. Now, which is not something that the program calls for.
Right.
But it's a help. It's an asset to have accountability partners. If I would have done it by myself, I'd like to think I would have done it. But knowing that I had 2 other guys relying on me to do it, because if you miss any of these things...
Would those guys have called you out or made you feel like
a... Yeah, it wouldn't have been pretty. But, if any one of those daily tasks are skipped, you have to start over on day 1. Mm-hmm. Which I think most people who go through the program have to start over at least once. I finished on Labor Day was our last day. We made it the 75 days without having to start over.
All 3 guys did.
All 3 guys did. And one of the things that we decided was if any of us missed any of them,
all of you had to start.
All 3 of us
I remember that. That's
over.
Awesome. So you not only were you screwing yourself,
you were screwing 2 other people.
You were screwing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we all made it through. I mean, at least we tell each other we made it through. I would like to think that we all truly made it through. Oh, also couldn't drink.
Oh man,
that was the other thing. You can't have any alcohol.
Can I do 75 semi-hard?
Everything but the alcohol. So it wasn't really a huge challenge for me, but there were a few times during the 75 days that I was like, oh shit, it'd be really nice. I mean, we had 4th of July during that time. We had Labor Day weekend during that time. It was through the summer.
It's for our country.
Right, I know. But that was quite the experience. The first couple days, I was all gung-ho, ready to go, so it wasn't hard at all to...
The excitement carried
me through. I would say probably week 5, week 6. It's about 11 weeks. Halfway through, my body started to, 2 workouts a day, without any rest. I mean, there were no rest days.
Right.
When you work out, you usually try to have at least one.
So it's 7 days a week.
7 days.
It wasn't 5 on 2 off or 6 on 1 off.
75 total days, nonstop, no questions asked. About halfway through, I texted the guys. I was like, "Man, my body is it's tired," and they're like, "Just keep going." We were all we motivated each other and kept each other accountable really well. But then I got over that hump, and I would say probably week 6, 7, 8. I don't even need an alarm anymore. I wake up on my own by 5 o'clock.
Right.
Oftentimes by 4, which was earlier than I was waking up when I was working out.
Now, when you get up at 4, just for people, what time are you going to bed the night before?
Oh, I mean, there's times I go to bed at 11 or 12. I don't think I went to bed past or earlier than 10 o'clock the entire time.
Understand.
I've found that I need less sleep than I thought I did. I've never really been a heavy sleeper. I don't sleep 8 hours. I know some people like 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep. I can't do it.
Right.
But now it really doesn't matter what time I go to bed. In fact, this past week I went to bed at 1 o'clock and woke up at 4 on my own without an alarm. And if I try to go back to sleep, it just doesn't work.
Right.
So I'm up.
Once the mind started, it can't stop.
And I've decided that, if I wake up, I don't even try to go back to sleep. It's just you get up and just go. The first half an hour sucks, but after that, it's
so what's
really
the morning routine at 4? Like, you get up at 4 o'clock, then what?
I get up, feed the dogs, and then it's put on the workout clothes and go out. It's usually a 3 to 4 mile walk in the morning or a 8 to 12 mile bike ride.
Yep.
That's my podcast time. That's my
Sure.
Jocko it's mainly Jocko, but also Gary V. I listen to a lot of Gary V. Or if it might be an audiobook. I think right now it's pretty much an audiobook.
Right. Where do you listen to this today?
Currently, Mike Michalowicz just came out. His book just dropped yesterday. Gift Different.
Yep.
I actually got one of his early releases. I got it about a month ago. It was one of his pre-edited books. So I got both. I got the original, the early release, and then I got the other one that just arrived.
How is
yesterday.
it? Because I just got my copy. So
it's pretty great. I'm about 3 hours in, I think, on the audiobook. It's a lot of what Mike talks about is not mind-blowing, new information. It's stuff that's been out there. It's been around. He just has a really good way of simplifying it and condensing it into just easy to understand for layman's terms information, which speaks to me because I'm no intellect.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, make it farmer simple, dude.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, he was my number one book, Profit First.
Yep.
I mean, just the way he writes talks to me, and I understand the way he portrays his information. But his book is great. I actually saw it on your desk out there.
Yeah.
I was going to talk to you about it, but it's really good, and it's all about being different and creating a marketing strategy that separates you from the competition of people who are doing the exact same thing as you are. It comes back to the experience design.
Yep.
It's so important.
Yeah.
So important. All his books are just.
Well, the sad thing is you just think about our system as we raise our kids. They're taught to conform.
Yeah.
Everybody has to take the same test.
Right.
Everybody's looking for the same result.
And I think that's why. I know that's why college wasn't for me. I went and I tried. I went to college for 2 years. One was one full year at an art school, and the other one at a public university. And it just felt like you walk out at the end of the day and you're robots talking about the exact same thing. And it really depends on just who your professor is and what they want to tell you.
And the thing is, they weren't teaching you how to think.
No.
They were teaching you what to believe.
Yes.
And that's the part, you get out here as an entrepreneur. This is real world. We need to be able to think.
Yeah.
Independently We need to be able to take all sorts of opinions, all sorts of information, all sorts of feedback, and use it to make our belief of how we need to act. Mm-hmm. There, they just told you what to believe.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the school system in general.
Yeah,
you're told what to believe all the time, and I don't want to knock it so much. If everyone was an independent thinker, I don't know that the world could operate. But it takes people who push against the norms and go against the grain to make the world move forward. The college just wasn't for me. Whether I should have gone and stayed or not, that's for other people to decide, not me.
Right.
I know in my heart that I've made the
right
decision.
Life scorecard so far, your life balance sheet, says that probably wasn't the path for you.
It was not the path for me. I would have been miserable.
If we go back to 75 hard, well, first of all, who is the mastermind behind that?
I'm so terrible with
names. Is it Andy Frisella?
Andy Frisella.
Okay.
Yeah, Andy. This is his first. I was struggling with his first name. But.
So we're done with it. You survived it.
I'm done with 75 hard.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes. Officially the challenge, the whatever.
Yeah.
So as of today, what are the statistics behind it? You wake up earlier now.
Yes.
So you've also learned discipline. You've also are now physically doing things. What's different about you today than if we go back 75 days ago? What's different?
So I think one of the big things that has changed is my... It opened up my mind to realize that I can, in a short amount of time, change the way I operate. Mm-hmm.
So you control it.
I can control it. Yes. If I decide today that in 75 days I want to do ABC, if I reverse engineer that to the basics, the bare bones of what that would require, and focus on those 3 or 4 tasks every single day, I'll achieve it. It doesn't take as long as maybe you'd think. 75 days sounds like a long time when you're first starting.
Mm-hmm.
It's 75 days. I've got to do this, 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 and this, and this. And the first couple of days, you're motivated by that you just have that motivation to go, and then you hit the wall. Mm-hmm. And if you can break through that wall, then you realize how much control you actually have over your life.
See, that's epic right there.
Yeah,
epic.
If you can realize, get to the point where, God, I just can't wake up this early anymore. I can't, the morning workout really for me wasn't that hard. It was the evening workout. It was the second
ditto.
one.
Be the same for me.
After the day was over, I get home and I'm like, the last thing I want to do is go work out for 45 minutes.
Right.
But if you do it, you realize that the only thing. So I think there are a couple things that limit people in life. One is fear, and I don't think that has anything to do with 75 hard. Maybe getting started has a little bit to do with it. Determination and discipline, and not giving yourself a choice is another. Mm-hmm. Is probably the second.
So you
thing.
did that. Your choice was when you added accountability partners.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That helped you. You set yourself up for success because you did that.
And the more I think about it, I feel like I kind of cheated because. I had the accountability. I still had to do everything myself, but knowing that I was going to let 2 other guys down drove me even more. If I did it myself, I like to think that I would have kept going, but I really have no way of knowing. So I'm actually going to do it again.
Okay.
I'm going to do it again by myself.
Now there's Thanksgiving coming up and Halloween parties and Christmas.
I know, and
so it's gonna be a January 1, New Year's resolution.
No, I'm actually gonna start October 1st.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we better have a.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start October 1st and do it again, and I know that I'm gonna go through Halloween. I'm gonna go through Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go through Christmas. I'm gonna go through New Year's. Which the only thing that really that matters in that is the alcohol consumption. You know, I'm just not going to be able to drink when we're with family.
No, what will I ever do?
You know, I'm not that dependent on it that it's going to be a huge deal, but also, you know, I'm not going to be able to overindulge in all the good food. I can still eat it. That's the thing. Like it's just portion control or whatever. But I've decided that I need to redo this for myself, and I think that this fourth quarter of the year is probably the hardest time to be able to stick to a diet.
Oh, there's no question, for sure.
To just have this self-discipline, and if I can go through this fourth quarter knowing and make it through without having to restart, it's going to just click one more. It's going to be that next level for me. But not to take away what I've already done,
right?
You know, with a couple of the guys that.
But I get the question mark though.
Sure,
I get that.
I'm like, okay, well, I had these guys in the back of my head the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I going to? If I fail, I'm not just failing myself; I'm failing them. So now I have to be okay with valuing myself over just the other two. You know, a couple other people.
It's gonna be hard, dude.
It's gonna be hard.
That'll be hard.
But I'm gonna do it, and I honestly, in my mind, there's really, I'm gonna make it. It'll be fine. I'll make it through. I'm really not too worried about it.
Well, it's good that you don't have anybody that'll like torment you throughout that time to make it as difficult as possible.
Yeah. So I'm gonna enjoy these double oaked and the cask while I can for the next week or so.
Right.
But yeah, we hold ourselves back far more than anything any outside influence does.
See, now if you posted that on Facebook, they would put the little warning on there that individual fact checkers have decided that that's not true. Because personal responsibility, it's not a thing in the new world.
Man, that sucks.
You know, and again, you sit there and look at it. I hate to keep going back to the younger generation, but it is so scary that they're determining their value. They're determining their upside, what's possible, off of fake assumptions and inaccurate information.
Yeah.
I've told the story 100 times that, back when I was super young, just like them, I was lucky enough to have a mentor. My dad didn't think that I worked hard enough on our farm. I had to work on Mr. Albright's turkey farm as well.
Right.
The thing that was cool about Mr. Albright at age 12 when I walked in his door is he had, now we're going way back, this is before computers and stuff were like a thing.
Sure.
And he had computer screens all over his office. And I'm like, whoa, what's all this? And he says, well, hey, dude, you're Doug's son? I said, yeah, I'm Doug's son. He said, let's go clock you in. And he says, if you're interested, we'll spend 30 minutes every day that you work for me. We'll clock you in. I'm going to pay you to learn what I'm doing. So that's how it started. Well, anyways, part of my study was he gave me a book. The book's title was Powershift by a futurist at the time named Alvin Toffler. You can still go back and find the book. And the book was a paperback about this thick. Now remember, I'm like a 12, 13-year-old kid when this is handed to me.
Yeah. And
he says, Eric, he says, you have everything inside of you to be great. I like the way you think, I like the way you work. He says, but you need more information. He says, my goal is while you work here, I'm going to help prepare you so you can think. He said, I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm going to prepare you how to think. So I'm like, as a kid hearing this, you walk out there and go like, right. Whatever, But then I read it. And again, I've read it probably 5 or 6 times since that over the last 30 years. And the moral of the story of the book was it went through whoever had power, all the way from the beginning of time, all the way through the early 80s. And it, went through, Rome and Greece and, all that stuff to, whoever owned land in the United States. And then it was the railroads and the manufacturers and the steel people. Then it was the automobile makers and, industry. But then it came down to the end. He made his prediction. And his prediction was whoever controlled the information would have all of the power. And look at where we are today. Facebook is now the authority on what is true and what is not. Instagram is now the authority, which is basically Facebook,
Right.
on what's true or what's not. Twitter can just eliminate a sitting president from its platform.
Yeah.
Because it has the moral authority to protect all of us dumb people from falsehoods. So you think about this book written back when it was written 35, 40, almost 50 years ago, and how it pegged today. So all of a sudden, our kids are growing up saying, you talk about self-reliance. You talk about it's up to me, I have a choice. It's not anybody's fault. That's false information today shoved into their head, both in the educational system, social media, the news networks, on TV. Whoever controls the information has all the power.
Yeah.
So you take a program like you did of Andy, Mr. Frasilla's, that gives the power back to you. All you have to do is act on it. So would you recommend anybody do this?
I would recommend everyone give it a shot. You will truly find out what you're made of.
What if I don't want to know?
Well, then, keep going to the gym and, eating donuts or whatever. But I think if you truly want to know who you are, what you're capable of, and if you have what it takes, I think 75 Hard is a great program. A lot of people will say, "Oh, it's a dangerous weight loss program," and it's not a weight loss program.
Mm-hmm.
Weight loss and fitness is a part of it, but it really truly is just self-discipline and
lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
It's making yourself do things that it's easy to say no to. It's easy for me to not drink a gallon of water a day. It's easy for me to not work out twice a day. It's easy to not, read a book. A lot of the things that the program entail are things that I was already doing aside from I wasn't working out. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was reading and I was trying to grow my business and I was trying to do, I was taking care of other things, but as we talked about before, the oxygen mask. If you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of others. So yeah, the fitness aspect of it is, that's a portion of it, but it is really about getting outside of your comfort zone, proving to yourself what you can do.
That's huge.
And it is really just scraping the bottom of it's just scratching the surface. There's so much more that you can do, but this is a really good way to prove to yourself that you can do things that you wouldn't normally put yourself through. None of it's hard. Every task in
it's
the program
simple, but
is
it's not
simple.
easy.
Yeah, it is about consistency. It's about habit forming. And there are 3 other phases of the program as well that are 30-day phases. And they are the same as the original 75 Hard, but they add a few things. The next phase, I believe, adds a 5-minute cold shower every single day. So you're still doing the workout. You're still doing the no alcohol. You're still doing the diet. You're still
doing that or not?
I'm going to. I need to go through the 75 Hard by myself first.
Got you.
And I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And you need to complete these. You need to complete 75 Hard and the 3 1-month phases within a calendar year. And really, if you fail during any of those phases, you're supposed to start over on day 1 of 75 Hard. But I proved that I can get through the 75 days with accountability. Now I need to be self-accountable and get through those 75 days without other.
But you're probably more prepared now to do it.
I'm prepared. I know exactly what it takes.
Yeah.
I know that I'll get through it.
Right.
I just want to.
So you went through preschool. Now it's time for kindergarten.
Yep. I just want to get through it on my own. Just knowing that it wasn't just because I was going to let 2 other guys down that I went through it. I need to hold a higher value in myself and letting myself down and holding myself accountable. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to start October 1st, get through it, and then.
That's actually beast mode, dude. Impressed.
Well, I mean, it was kind of a baby step to show that yeah, I'm capable of way more than I gave myself credit for. But
So will 75 hard spread its wings or its roots into other areas of your life besides
yeah, I mean,
just the physical?
if there's anything that 75 hard shows you is that what you're capable of, even if you don't quite think you are. It forces you to break through obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
Mental. It's all mental. Every single part of 75 hard is mental. None of it's physical. There's things you have to do, but if you don't decide to do them, you won't. It doesn't even matter. So 99% is just deciding you're going to do it.
So I'm going to say this on tape, and then we're going to delete it off so nobody else can hear it.
All right, cool.
Why can't we do 75 hard for business?
You absolutely can. You
It
absolutely
won't be
can.
75 hard, but I mean the same concept.
Sure, absolutely. I think having, I think it's almost. I think you have to go through the 75 hard program first. To I don't know, maybe you don't. Oh, that's good.
Just, I mean, to be honest, I mean, why? I mean, I just think about why could, because everything that you're doing is habit creation.
Yeah.
You know, which business is habit creation. How many habits do you have? You just think about the times your business struggled. Was it bad habits?
Every time.
100%.
Yeah.
And was it because you didn't think you could do something? You couldn't ask because there was an ego involved? I mean, just think about all the limiting factors that we have physically for our health and in our personal lives are the same damn things translated and replicated into our business.
Right. So I think with a 75 hard business version, there is knowledge that's needed. 75 hard in its true sense, in its primitive form, you don't need to know anything.
Right.
You just have to do things.
It's taking action.
It's taking action.
Right.
And with reading the books, I read it was 3 or 4 books during that. I think it was 3.5 during that time because it's 10 pages a day. I usually ended up doing more than 10.
Sure.
You get into it and you.
Yeah, I cut my walk short because I wanted to read more.
yeah. But I still do think that 75 hard is action. 75 hard business edition would be there's some knowledge that's needed.
Sure.
There.
That's actually a good point.
If you set that up, if you could set that up with the reading portion of 75 hard and giving you that knowledge to then graduate to a more business focused sense, I think there's absolutely an application there for business. But business isn't just about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think 75 hard is more focused internally.
Right.
And I think that would be like maybe a next phase.
Understand.
Of 75 hard. I do think that going through that and holding yourself accountable first will open your eyes and mind to the possibilities of what you can do as a business owner.
Makes sense.
But there's certainly, good Lord, there absolutely could be a program for business owners and entrepreneurs on what you could do if you just
did it every single day.
Did it every single
the
day.
right things.
And honest to God, it doesn't take 75 days. Mm-hmm. It took me probably 50. I know that they've claimed that 21 days will create or break a habit.
Sure.
I think it takes a little bit more than that. I think that's about the point that you hit the wall.
Oh, got you.
If you get through that wall, if you break through that barrier, I think at that point, and it takes a couple weeks. There was 3 weeks probably of me waking up in the morning and like, God damn it. I just want to lay in bed. But, and about that point too was when I decided I adjusted the water intake. I decided that I was going to knock out a gallon of water before 9 a.m. You're supposed to drink a gallon of water throughout the day.
Right.
And
now, did you just go catheter
such a pain in the ass, right? Yeah. Oh, man, bathroom every 15 minutes.
Yeah,
But, I'd wake up, I'd drink 40 ounces. I'd go work out, I'd drink 40 ounces. And then I would drink, another 40 or 48 is what I had left.
That's a lot, man.
By 9 a.m. But then by 11, I was good. Like I'd go to the bathroom every 15 minutes from 9 to 11, but then I was good. And then, so I will say, since I stopped, I haven't been doing the gallon.
Okay.
And I can 100% notice it.
What's the difference?
So the difference is I'm dry. My skin is dry. I'm hungry more often.
Oh,
throughout the day.
True. That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get cravings more. And just having that thing to do and to pay attention to, you don't naturally just drink a gallon of water before 9 a.m. You have to focus on that. But yeah, I can definitely tell I've like my skin's more oily. I don't know. I definitely can tell that I'm not drinking a gallon of water.
October 1st.
October 1st, I'll be back to drinking a gallon of water a day. And I'll tell you, it took me 1/2 bottle of Blue Moon beer to get me tipsy after I drank.
Oh,
after
I'm
I didn't
sure.
drink for 75 days.
Yeah,
didn't take much at all. But
now, what's the philosophy like on caffeine and soft drinks and stuff like that?
You're allowed to pick whatever diet plan you want to be on during that time. I picked a diet plan that really doesn't limit that.
Got you.
But in a way it does. I use Noom, which is an online app.
Absolutely.
Which is, it's worked. I'm down 50 pounds since I've started.
Really?
Yeah, I've lost 50 pounds since May.
That's crazy.
I didn't start 75 Hard until sometime in June, but I started Noom shortly before then. But 50 pounds down.
Now that you got to notice.
I do notice it. I'm on my last notch on my belt. So
that's freaking awesome.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I literally went through the entire belt. I started at notch 1 and I'm at the last notch now, which is pretty cool.
Awesome.
It's
very
pretty
cool. Yeah.
And I thought that going into it, for me before weight loss was, like I said, 75 Hard isn't about weight loss, but it is definitely a benefit from the program. Weight loss to me was the compliments, the other people noticing.
Yep.
Prior to this whole thing, and now it's just about, I feel so much better. It's about the feeling. It's about the energy to get up and go.
That's the word right there, energy.
And the energy that I have now from taking care of myself, and I don't know that I wouldn't have that energy if I didn't work out. I think taking care of things also gives you energy. But taking care of yourself gives you a natural energy that allows you to take care of things.
Even if it's just between the ears.
Yeah.
You know you're handling stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's been a really good experience. I have a long way to go. I'm not done. I'm not done with the weight loss. I'm not done with the program. But I know I know in me personally things that I've gotten to a point in life where I've gotten okay at things, certain tasks, certain skills, but never gotten great.
Not a master of anything.
Nope, right. Not a master. I am still not a master of anything. I have a lot of hobbies, a lot of interests. Going through the 75 Hard program has really opened up the importance of focusing on a few things. Getting good at a few. If you can get really good at a few things, you improve other things that you're doing in life. And I don't really know where I'm going with that, but it's an internal feeling that you have that you can't get by compliments. You can't get by anything other than proving to yourself that you can do what you put your mind to.
Sure.
If you can realize that you can do what you put your mind to and break through the barrier when your body and your mental state tells you to stop and you break through that, There's that's not something that can be taught.
What's Goggins say? When you break down mentally because you're doing a physical task, you're at 40%.
Yeah.
That means there's still 60% left to go yet.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's times we've all had when we're trying to work out or do whatever in a physical exertion, exercise of some kind, where in the end, our mind's the limiting factor.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the energy thing. Whenever you have clarity of purpose, you have yourself down to a narrowed focus. Now you have. Remember back in the day when you could adjust the radio dial and you had to get it just perfect for it to come in so it was clear.
A little earlier than my time.
Yeah, I know you don't understand. This is before there was
I kind of remember it.
Yeah, so I mean, if you were just a little off, you could hear it.
Right.
But it was fuzzy.
Yeah.
And I notice, I think I'm getting adult onset ADD. Because I do have tons of interest. Do have tons of things that we do in our business life. The vocations that really don't even go together. But we like doing them. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I can feel, and I know for a fact that if I would slice off 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 things that we're doing, probably would be a rock star at the 3 or 4 that were left.
Yeah, so that goes to like FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Like I think we all want to do everything in life.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't. You can be, and that's something that prior to 75 Hard, and I'm going to give this program a ton of credit because prior to 75 Hard, you sit there and you think like, oh, I want to do this, and oh, I want to do this, which has nothing to do with this over here. We have one life,
mm-hmm.
and we can't do everything as much as we want to.
If you try to do everything, you do nothing.
Exactly. Mm. We have one life. We try to do as much as we can, but I think I know that when I'm on my deathbed, I want to look back at life and say, I did the best I could
mm-hmm.
in this area, as opposed to looking back and saying, I didn't really do anything because I was trying to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, focusing on a task, you can only do so many tasks in a day. But if you focus all of your energy, and part of 75 Hard is, you have to focus on getting shit done.
Oh, for sure.
You can't, you don't just drink a gallon of water. There's probably no one who drinks, maybe there's some, but to drink a gallon of water without thinking about it.
I married one. Yeah.
Yeah. But to work out twice a day without thinking about it.
Yeah.
To sit down and take time to read without thinking about it. You don't do that. Mm-hmm. You have to live life with a purpose. You have to decide, this is where I'm going to focus my attention. And if you focus your attention on something, your limits are non-existent.
Right? How come we have to start getting gray hair and shit before we figure this out?
Man, right? I've had gray hair since I was 18.
Imagine what your dad probably had to have to deal with your dumb ass the whole time.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, I know. But
so that brings a good question up. Look what you've done. I think I consider you a close friend. But only probably for 3-4 years, has our relationship gotten to the point where it is today.
Yeah, I don't think I knew you 5 years ago.
Yeah. So to see where you started, to see where you're at today, let's just call it 5 years for the sake of my head hurts and I don't want to do any hard math. What's 5 years from now? We're sitting here, we're doing this again because we have more life experience to share with those who want to walk the same path we walked. Where's Trevor at? What's been accomplished? What's going on? And I think most importantly, the big question is, what's the legacy?
Yeah. So 5 years ago, my life was on a completely different trajectory than it is now. And the minute I decided to take control of it is when everything changed.
What was there an event? Was there something that happened that made that decision happen?
Yeah, absolutely. It was when my mom handed me Profit First.
Ah, got you.
Absolutely, 100%.
Circle.
Yeah. When I decided that, okay, I don't know all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take care of all of this without knowing what to do. Yeah, I mean, it was. I can't take it back to the day, but I can certainly take it back to the month, and it was February of 2017. And I know earlier I said I didn't remember if it was 2017 or 2018, but it was 2017. My mom gave me that book. If she wouldn't have given me that book on that day and I didn't decide that, all right, I guess mom knows best. If I didn't read that book, I guarantee you we wouldn't be sitting at this table today. I would be working for someone.
Mm-hmm.
The minute that you decide to take control of your actions and not let the world around you decide what you're going to do, your life changes. And I'm not saying that I'm not still influenced by things outside of what's up here.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that had that book not been given to me at that time, had I not decided to read that, my mom tried to get me to read books my entire life. My mom tried to get me to read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was 18 years old. I read it 2 months ago for the first time.
Great book. At 18,
I'm listening to this book. I'm reading this book. And I'm like, God, why? Why didn't I read this, 17 years ago?
Right.
Like, what stopped me? And it was because I was 18 and I knew everything.
Right.
And my mom tells me to read a book. No, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yep.
But something happened where I think I was at the bottom. I know I was at the bottom. 2017. Like that was hopefully the bottom. She gave me a book and I was like, what do I have to lose? I'm going to read it. The minute you decide to take control and not be controlled is when
everything changes.
Mm-hmm. Life changes 100%. You really do have control over what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You really do. And I think 90% of the things we're taught goes against that.
Maybe 99%.
Probably 99%.
Yep.
Yeah. But the second you decide, I'm in control of my future, I'm in control of my life, a lot of things change. And I don't know how to articulate that, really. Mm-hmm. It's hard to... It's something you have to go through. I don't think it's something that can be taught.
It's too bad because we keep repeating the same crap generation after generation.
Yeah.
It's not like now we got this new foothold that we're all going to start from here instead of here.
Yeah.
And then we move up from here. Now we're not going to start. It's not that way.
And there's so many people who fall into that trap. And I'm not going to call it a trap. We need people who are taught.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be there. But if we don't have people who think for themselves and the crazies, if you will, like I'm just so crazy for thinking anything other than what, I read in a textbook.
Yep.
Yeah.
So where does that take you then? I mean,
who knows?
You've built this, and again, you truly, and this is what I think is, to me, it's the life experience of all life experiences. To start a business from when there was nothing. It was zero. Didn't exist. There wasn't anything. And now it's something to be managed.
Yeah.
But is this Trevor's last business he ever owns? Or, Trevor's gone. What's left?
I guarantee no. Exit strategies are in place.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have other things I want to accomplish. And going through all the shit that I've gone through, and I haven't gone through. I'm not trying to say it was rough,
Right.
In
comparison.
In comparison,
Yeah.
I've had a great life. But I also know that there's more out there for me, and it won't happen in the current realm that I'm in. There's a lot more to come.
To be determined.
To be determined. And I don't know what that is right now, but I do know that if I decide to do something, that if I can break it down into actionable steps, that
just a matter of time.
It's just a matter of time. Mm-hmm. If I can find the goal and I can reverse engineer, and I've heard that over the course of my life and not really thought anything of it. It's like, oh yeah, reverse engineer. Well, you already know what you're going to do and how to do it. It's really just action.
Yep.
It is just action. And it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. If I take care of what's in between the ears and I stay focused and I know that I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this and I do them, you'll accomplish it.
You're there.
You're there. Yeah.
Well, we're getting close. We've been doing this for, I don't even know how long we've been freaking talking here.
Jesus Christ, it's 3:15.
It's been a couple of hours for sure. Where can people find you? If somebody has something, they hear this and they have a question about 75 Hard, the things that you went through in business, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
I'm on Facebook. You can also email me, trevor@foghorndesigns.com.
Mm-hmm.
I try to, make sure things don't go into my junk mail, but sometimes they do. But Facebook, Trevor Rood. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. Ask me whatever you want to ask me. I'm pretty much an open book.
Yes.
Not much you can ask me that I'll keep hitting.
I'm pleading the fifth, dude. I'm not talking about it. Well, dude, I want to take a minute. I appreciate you so much. Appreciate your friendship. But more than that, I mean, guys like you, entrepreneurs like you in your age group are going to be the motor that pushes this recovery and pushes us beyond the BS that we're in today. No matter what, every solution that's going to come up to fix this, and any solution that's ever come up in the past has always come from entrepreneurship, and I'm going to say it, farmers. If you have those two pieces and they're operating perfectly, the world's fine, the country's fine, your county's fine, your city's fine. So I do appreciate all that you give back to the community, your willingness to work with other entrepreneurs. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I do want to ask one closing question. I think it's important. In the last year or so, you and I started a new mastermind. I don't want to get into a 30-minute soliloquy about what a mastermind is, but I want you to plant a few seeds about what a mastermind can do, what it is, and what it means to you. Sure.
So obviously we've touched on the fact that no one person has all the answers. When you can surround yourself with like-minded individuals, and I'm not saying politically like-minded, I'm not saying career like-minded, people who want to succeed, people who want to make sure that this world does not go down in flames, people who want to make the world a better place. Masterminds groups are, I don't know that I've ever been a part of anything that I've taken more out of. To sit down in a room with 5, 6, 7 other people and be able to bounce ideas off of each other and see and realize that you're not the only one struggling with this, topic A, topic B, topic C. Knowing that you're not alone in that fight is incredibly empowering and can take you from a feeling of isolation to a feeling of togetherness, companionship, masterminds groups are there's nothing better. There's nothing that I would put ahead of that when it comes to self-improvement, business development. Yeah. If you're not familiar with a masterminds group, it's a group of like-minded individuals who get together, talk about their problems, talk about their success, how they got through this issue,
hold each other accountable.
And the 75 Hard program I did with 2 other guys that are in our masterminds group.
Right. So there was going to be consequences in front of a whole group.
Absolutely.
If you fail.
Absolutely. I mean, you open up, you get comfortable with opening up all your deep, dark secrets, your problems that you're having, and then you realize, oh, shit, they're having the same problem I'm having. That person's having the same problem I'm having. You're not in it alone. That's the big thing that I take away from the masterminds groups that we've been involved in, is that as isolating as being a small business owner can feel, you're not even remotely close to the only one going through the same thing.
Yep.
And my strengths I can bring to the table, and places that I'm having a problem with, there's someone else at that table that have it figured out and they can help me. Man, masterminds groups are just great.
So more of the story. If you're not part of one, you need to figure out how to start one. And again, any questions on that, you can reach out to Trevor, to me. We'd love to help. Again, I think it's the answer to bring, especially starting at the smallest granular locations, a small city, small town, small village, and that'll start to expand.
Yeah.
And then it gets everybody pulling the same way, rowing in the same direction, and lifting each other up. We've been coerced, we've been brainwashed into looking up to government, or entities or regulatory agencies for permission. For how to do it, when we're allowed to do it. And back in the day, you just took care of your own. Yeah. Churches took care of people, communities took care of people, families took care of people. There wasn't somebody else's responsibility. We all took care of it. And a masterminds is just a perfect little petri dish of how the world used to be and how the world should be. So again, if you ever want to have one, contact Trevor, contact me, we'll get after it. I look forward to changing the world with you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yep. I appreciate your time today.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.